Hi, good evening. And today I have the pleasure of congratulating and welcoming Dr. Rakavi. She's been a fantastic student all throughout. I remember interacting in her personal messages and asking me funny and very interesting questions. I remember one of the questions she asked me on WhatsApp was, Sir, who gets smack more common, men or women? Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So I think we discussed that question, and there were a lot of men, and then she was very intellectual and passionate about cardiology. And I'm so happy for her that it's a first attempt and she's rocked it very well. She is
Thank
All India Common Merit List ranked second, and she's AIIMS Merit List ranked third in her very first attempt. So, congratulations, Dr. Akavi, and it's a
thank you,
pleasure to
sir.
have you for the interview.
Thank
So,
you.
so Dr. Akavi was subscriber of NEET SS series, and she was also subscriber of Cardiology Question Bank. And she was also a candidate with us in the mock interview sessions that we do. And so we are going to take tips from her, and she's going to tell her how she prepared for it, cracked it in the first attempt, and that too in a fantastic way to make it to the institute that we were discussing offline. Which one she wants to take, because her hands are full and she has choices of plenty to spoil her choices. So yeah, Dr. Akwi. So let's start with how you're feeling.
Sir, it's really a great feeling. I feel satisfied and like after a toil, I feel now relaxed. Like I can relax for a few months with my parents before joining again to hard work and toil again. So it feels
You're sure
relaxed.
going to do well. You're sure going to do well. So, can you just share certain tips with our other viewers and students who are preparing as to what was your methodology of preparation vis-a-vis the course, the material, your background, and whatever books you had? So, you had question bank access, you had DSS access, you had videos of cardiology access, you had so much study material with you, and still you cracked it in one attempt. So, how did you prepare in the short time that was there with you, and what was the methodology of preparation?
So actually, I decided to choose cardio only after my MD completion, like last December. And initially, I was studying for endocrinology. Maybe I was thinking that it's cool branch, so I should go. But then once I started studying, I was not convinced. But then I finally decided cardiology, it's okay, whatever is the hard work, because many people used to say it's very hardworking branch for a woman like that. But then I was not convinced. I chose cardiology. And then I started studying late only comparatively, like February I started as a wholesome as a cardiology as a branch. Then, so I was having just 2.5 or 3 months maximum. So my seniors used to say, read Braunwald and revise the topics. But I was sure that it's impossible for me to study completely a new book within this 3 months. So I need a proper guidance. So I at that time I used to watch free videos in YouTube. Your discussion videos used to come in YouTube. So I like the way the questions were discussed. So then I opted at the package of Doc's tutorial. And then the videos were all, like HCM, for example, I watched first hypertrophy HCM videos, and it was concise. Like, so watch that complete video, you can answer that HCM module, all the questions. So that will boost you up to do further modules. So that was the initial strategy. I to make my concepts clear, because MD preparation of cardio is entirely different for a and DM preparation. So first I watched all the videos, and after that, so at that time I didn't make notes. So conceptually, I cleared what is there in cardiology, and most of the concepts I understood. Factual things I left it for the second revision. So first videos I watched everything, and that is for only conceptual learning. What is cardiology? And after that, I did the MCQs given in the question banks. So each topic I would do the MCQs that cleared further, like whatever concepts I was in doubt. After doing that MCQs, I could get it what is cardiology and what is the topics and its concepts. So now I was more confident enough. So this is my first part of learning cardiology. Just be clear in the concepts. And the second part was like revision of the same. So while revising, I used to take the notes. For example, most of the concepts were in my mind, so I didn't want to write many notes. So because before the exam, I want to revise concise notes. So I just notes which I couldn't remember, like certain factual, like channelopathies, like which are channels are which types of channel belongs to which channels, and autosomal recessive, autosomal, those factual things I wrote. And most of the conceptual things were in mind because MCQs, and I watched videos once. So that was helpful in revising this. Broadly, this is my strategy for preparation, sir, in that short duration.
No,
And Braunwald,
yeah,
as
Brunwald, please.
as
Please
you
go
said, you said like just go through the graphs and tables.
ahead.
So before the exams, I just go through the important topics, graphs and tables. Most
Right.
broadly,
So
this
I
is
think
my preparation.
material is enough. I mean, we have so much of material. Actually,
Yes,
everybody is
yes.
flooded with so much material. I think what is required is to be concise, to the point, and to know what to read. And I was not aware that you were initially preparing for endo. Otherwise, I would have, started from the endocrine aspects of the cardiology. But anyway, you did fantastic, and this is all the more a creditable thing that you were actually just like 3-4 months of preparation, and you cracked it so well. Um, Congratulations again. So yes, that is what we do in DocTutorials. We have designed the material in a fashion like she was mentioning, the HCM talk. The HCM talk is basically covering all the aspects of potential MCQs. And most of the topics, it's not just MCQs. I mean, because Dr. Rakavi was looking at MCQ pattern of the knowledge, but the same lecture, if somebody was to look for DM exit exam, it would become a full question also, because that's nothing but the summary of the whole thing. So that's the fun of the videos or the video method of learning. So what is your take on, or what kind of support did you get for the question banks? How helpful were the question banks? Because I remember in one of the session we were discussing this, that one set of questions were the one that we took up from the pre-existing question bank. And the second grand test were the questions which were absolutely out of blue. Those questions I had picked up from books which were never ever coming across. Those were the questions that were completely conceptual. So what was your take on the two kinds of separate kind of a question bank, and how were you faring in the grand test? Where were you standing in those grand tests overall, and does it look very much similar on the lines in the INISS?
Yes, sir. That though, like I used to get rank 1 and 2 only. Both the
Yeah,
grand test, I got the same rank, and it
I
was,
know that.
yes, sir. And the kind of grand test in Docs tutorial, I feel, than with other app, this was so simulating the actual INSS. Like it had easy questions, it had average questions in that same proportion, which the actual INSS was there. And most, and between comparing grand test 1 and grand test 2, frankly saying, I like that grand test 2 because
Okay.
I grand test 1, I was doing all the question bank
Yes.
questions. So like it was like a revision for me. So grand test 1 was really a cakewalk. It was very easy for me. Grand test 2 was exactly like INISS
Yeah.
pattern. Like at that time, I didn't recognize when I gave grand test 2, but after giving INISS 2, I recognized that it was simulating how was like grand test 2.
Yeah,
So that
because
was very helpful.
we had a couple of students who had already joined DM, and they also had ongoing subscription. So they appeared for the test, and they also told me, sir, it was too tough. Even for the guys who are appearing for DM exit, they would feel not be able to get 100 out of it. So the whole purpose was to keep you trained in a fashion in grand test to an extent in a fashion that you learn more concepts. Because if you see the
Mm.
framing of the concepts also, one question would give you 4 information rather than
Yes.
on the rot memory, just cramming up the things. There were no questions on that. I will give you
Mm.
one statement of myeloid. Three would be true, one will be wrong, and what is wrong in that one will be an information. So
Yes.
you will remember amyloid and 4 aspects of it. So that's how
Yes.
the question. Though the question may be asked with a different option in the INISS, but amyloid, that part I think was covered completely. That's what the whole
Mm.
grand test was, and that's why we have the highest number of subscribers for the Grand Test series all across India as compared to our competitors. Everybody opts for Grand Test that we have. We have good subscription for the INISS as well, and for the NEET SS. But I think there's nobody who doesn't opt for DocTutorials Grand
Yes.
Test series. Everybody opts for it. Okay, so once you got the interview call, what was your immediate thought process? And were you aware that we do a mock interview session?
No, sir. Initially, I was not aware. I was
Okay.
like, first time I'm meeting those legendary people in AIIMS Delhi. Like, what each guides will have, each teachers will have their own expectation of their students to answer. Like for a same question, one teacher will expect a different way of answering. So I was like, what questions will they ask? I was like clueless because I never attended a previous interview. That was my first ever interview, to say. So I was a little nervous, but when I got a call that there is a mock interview, and I was also added in a WhatsApp group to clear any doubts. So that gave me more confidence. And also after, like in that mock interview, also individually, you had interviewed everyone. So that gave, really to say, that gave me confidence to face the actual interview. Like, how will a teacher ask a question in an interview? So that was very useful, sir.
That's our hallmark. That's our patent. We should be. I would not disclose it even to my colleagues in the other specialties. They do a mock interview in a different way. I do my mock
Yes.
interview in a different way. I ask
Mm,
all candidates to join in. I'll not disclose more.
yes.
And you know how I roll it. So every
Yes.
candidate I roll, you actually learn more than you would learn just for your mock interview. So that's my way of doing it. And we do it every year. And every year the feedback has been the same. The fantastic reviews that we are getting, just like yours. That's a mock interviews get you into a footing that you actually can feel. And I think, which let me ask you it informally kind of a thing. Which interviews you felt were more tougher, mine's or the mock interviews or the real interviews?
No, sir. Obviously, yours only.
so so that's the whole idea, even in the
Yes.
that's the whole idea, because I want to train you for the toughest of the toughest interview. So the real interview doesn't sound anything. Same is the case with grant test. When I do the GT2, it will be the toughest GTs that you'll give. So when you're appearing actually for INISS, you'll feel it's not so tough to be. So most of the
Mm,
people will fumble with realizing that the the INISS had very tough questions set. You guys will feel, yeah, it's okay. Some questions are tough, some are easy. So that's how it
yes.
goes. Yeah. So what is your feedback for the DocTutorials as a whole and as for the INISS cardiology? What are your recommendations for other students for the DocTutorials?
So overall, mine experience was very good. Like, you were there to clear my doubts whenever whatever funny doubts it was. So
Not
that
at all
was.
funny. They were very inquisitive, and I'm so happy that you were looking at the meticulous thing. And that's
Mhm.
one feedback that I want to give every candidate. She would, text me at 12 o'clock. Of course, I was also awake at 12 o'clock, replied back.
Oh, yes.
Once or twice that I remember, that was that women kind of a question that you asked me. Who gets it
Mm.
more, the Mac, the men or women? And
Mm.
but that's my day. I usually say my day ends at 2 a.m. So I'm always awake. You may text me at 7, I may not be able to reply you, but 8, 1 or 2, I am always able to reply back to my students, because that's
Yes.
usually my study time. That's when I read the latest published articles and all. So I'm always awake at that time. And I'm so glad that she was, very prompt in asking and very inquisitive about very specific things and clearing questions. And that's the added advantage that we have, the WhatsApp teaching that we do. Every day we post questions in the WhatsApp group. We try to post as many questions. And then the individual one-on-one, you're always free to ask. So what's your take on that WhatsApp group? A lot of people actually feel that joining a group on WhatsApp with these kind of a question can actually be disheartening, that you don't know some of the questions. What was your take? There must be times when I would push the question and you would not know. Did that deter you, or did would jitter you, or you were
No.
motivated to study all the more?
No, no, sir. I never get deterred away at all. It was just motivational thing only. And within short span of time, I was like, whoever gives of knowledge, it was more useful only. So I never got demotivated by it. It was very good, so that I can concentrate on the topics which I do not know also. So if I'm able to answer, then I get more motivated to study more. That's it. It was very good.
So thank you, Dr. Akvi. Your closing comments we can have, and then we can end the interview for the sake of time.
So overall, to say, like, I started it late, but people should not get disheartened. Nothing is too late. We can, with a minimum period of time, we have lots of guidance, and we can do it. And I would say my juniors that instead of reading complete Braunwald, if there is a guidance in this scenario, in this future, it's very competitive now. So if there is guidance, I would prefer they should subscribe to an app. Preferably DocTutorial was very good for me in my experience. So their preparation will become much easier than a stressful preparation journey in that 3 months. So
Thank you. That's what we all say. We don't expect you to be knowing Grunwald by heart, but you should be guided as to what you should know from Grunwald. And as she very, very clearly mentioned, diagram, table, flow charts of Grunwald is something that you can rapidly screen through and prepare yourself for INI. So thank you, Dr. Rakavi. Congratulations again to you and to the whole of your family. I look forward to be associated in all your journeys and academic associations in future as well. My best wishes are always with you. It will be a pleasure to mentor you even in future, wherever the opportunity arises. Take care and have a good day and enjoy yourself. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.